And today is very special because we celebrate Women's History Month. That's what it's about every year. And before we begin, I want to send our love to the Michigan Jewish community and all of the people in Detroit area following the attack on the Jewish synagogue.
A surprising moment involving U.S. President Donald Trump has triggered fresh debate about his health after a live television appearance at the White House. During a Women's History Month event attended by First Lady Melania Trump, the 79-year-old president appeared to confuse two prominent figures from his administration. The moment quickly went viral online, sparking widespread speculation about whether the president experienced a brief memory lapse.
Hello all, Adam is ready. So this is happening right now. The videos are everywhere. Millions of people are watching them, sharing them, asking the same question. What is happening to the President of the United States? This isn't some fringe conspiracy theory circulating in dark corners of the internet. This is mainstream. This is real. And it's happening in plain sight.
The White House revealing President Trump has been diagnosed with a condition called chronic venous insufficiency. The news comes after the president and some observers noticed swelling of his ankles and some bruising on his right hand he appeared to try to cover up with makeup. I want to bring in CNN Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta. So, Sanjay, what is this condition?
So chronic venous insufficiency, a relatively common condition, something that gets more common as you get older, involves a problem with the veins. That's the venous part of that. So arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins take blood back to the heart. If the veins aren't working properly, if they're not doing their job, blood can sort of start to pool. And that was probably causing that swelling that you just showed in that picture there. Again, a fairly common condition. I will say a couple of interesting things. He had a physical exam back in April, and so 3 months ago or so, and they made no mention of it at that time. So either it wasn't there or they didn't talk about it. It does appear that this problem has either started or worsened over the last 3 months.
Donald Trump is 79 years old. He's the oldest person ever to take the oath of office as president. That's just a fact. But age alone isn't the story. The story is what age combined with a complete refusal to take care of himself is doing to his body and mind. And right now, just weeks into his second term, what people are seeing is causing serious alarm.
We've been listening to the White House press briefing there hit a number of topics, most notably, or among the notable topics, we heard about the president's medical condition, with the White House press secretary there saying that he was evaluated by the White House medical unit after questions and after the president noticed some swelling in his legs, and they said in an effort of transparency that tests were performed. I want you to just listen to the sound here.
Not because the media is being unfair, not because Democrats are exaggerating for political gain, because it's actually happening. Videos of Trump struggling are going viral on social media. Mainstream news outlets are running serious reports. Former staffers who worked for him, people who were in the room, are going on camera and talking about what they observed.
Speculating about bruising on the president's hand and also swelling in the president's legs. So in the effort of transparency, the president wanted me to share a note from his physician with all of you today. In recent weeks, President Trump noted mild swelling in his lower legs. In keeping with routine medical care and out of an abundance of caution, this concern was thoroughly evaluated by the White House medical unit. The president underwent a comprehensive examination, including diagnostic vascular studies. Bilateral lower extremity venous Doppler ultrasounds were performed and revealed chronic venous insufficiency, a benign and common condition, particularly in individuals over the age of 70. Importantly, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis or arterial disease. Laboratory testing included a complete blood count, comprehensive metabolic panel, coagulation profile, D-dimer, B-type natriuretic peptide, and cardiac biomarkers. All results were within normal limits.
And the American people are looking at all of this and asking a question that deserves an answer. Is the president actually fit to serve? Is he capable of doing this job? Let's start with what we know about Trump's health right now, and we know it because he's told us. He admits he doesn't sleep. Hardly at all. 4 or 5 hours a night, maybe less. He's admitted he ignores his doctor's advice on medication.
The memo from the White House also goes into the cause of the bruising on the president's hand that he's been trying to cover.
Yeah, right. He's been trying to cover up. We've seen the makeup on his hand, covering up these bruises. We've noticed this for some time. First of all, Anderson, I think going back to February, even with a visit that he had at that point, we saw some pictures of bruising on his hand. The White House doctors commented on this, and they said this is irritation and sort of minor trauma to the hand. They say probably as a result of lots of handshaking, on top of the fact that he's taking aspirin as an anticoagulant. So, Anderson, I'll tell you that does track. People who are on blood thinners or some sort of blood thinner like this and have repeated sort of trauma to the hand or just even handshakes can cause that sort of bruising.
He's taking aspirin at doses doctors have specifically told him not to take. He doesn't exercise. He eats fast food constantly. He follows no health regimen despite being 79 years old and having the weight of the world on his shoulders. That's not smart. That's not responsible. That's a man systematically destroying his own body while occupying the most powerful office on earth. And the physical evidence is visible to anyone with eyes. Look at his hands. The bruising is persistent. The swelling is obvious. These hand issues have been going on for months, continuing into 2026. Medical experts have examined photographs and linked the bruising and swelling to chronic venous insufficiency. That's a serious circulatory problem that gets worse with age and worse with poor health habits. His hands literally look unhealthy in public appearances. They're bruised, they're swollen, and he's doing nothing about it because he's stubbornly refusing to follow the treatments that could actually help. But the hands are just the beginning. There are reports he's falling asleep during meetings. The President of the United States, dozing off while being briefed on matters of national security. During major policy discussions, during important sessions with advisors, Trump is just nodding off. That's not normal. That's not a minor quirk. That's a sign that something is seriously wrong. Severe sleep deprivation or some other significant medical condition. Cobb, a former Trump lawyer, went on MSNBC and spoke frankly about what he's seeing. He said there's been a significant decline in Trump's mental faculties. He said Trump is rambling more, losing focus, not as sharp as he used to be. Cobb is not some Democratic operative. He worked for Trump, he supported Trump, and even he is saying this publicly. When your own people are noticing you're declining, that's a real problem. Then there are the videos. Hours and hours of footage circulating online showing Trump at events where he appears to be struggling. Videos where he looks confused. Videos where he's slurring his words. Videos where his coherence falls apart mid-sentence. These are going viral. Millions of views. Millions of people watching and wondering what's going on. The Wall Street Journal interviewed Trump in early January. He admitted to all of it. The lack of sleep. The high-dose aspirin against medical advice. The refusal to exercise. He's basically admitting he's not taking care of himself while serving as president with his finger on the nuclear code. The hand bruises are particularly telling because they've persisted for months without improvement. They're a visible marker of circulatory failure. They're evidence that his body isn't working right. Combine that with sleep deprivation, refusal to follow doctor's orders, a diet of fast food, and zero exercise, and you have a president who is actively accelerating his own physical decline. Now we're seeing the mental effects, the cognitive decline, the rambling speeches that get worse each time. The dozing off during critical briefings. This isn't manufactured. This isn't exaggerated. This is reported by mainstream outlets and witnessed by his own people. It's real. And it's raising serious questions about whether Trump should be making life-or-death decisions about foreign policy and national security when he can barely stay awake. So let's talk about what this actually means. On the surface, it's just an old guy's health. But when that old guy is the president, it becomes a constitutional crisis waiting to happen. It becomes a question about whether the government can function if the leader isn't capable. Trump is 79. The average life expectancy for American men is 76. He's already past it. At 79, the risk of cognitive decline, physical health problems, and serious medical events skyrockets. That's not opinion. That's medical fact. At this age, the probability of heart attack, stroke, dementia, and other serious conditions increases dramatically. Yes, he has access to excellent medical care. He could be in phenomenal health for his age if he followed advice. But he's not. He's admitted he's not. He's doing everything wrong. Chronic venous insufficiency, the condition causing his hand bruising, is a real problem. It means blood isn't flowing properly. It causes swelling and bruising. It's linked to sedentary lifestyle. It gets worse with age, and it requires active management, exercise, leg elevation, compression stockings, medication. But Trump is refusing all of it. His hands staying bruised and swollen for months proves he's not following any treatment protocol. He's just walking around with a worsening circulatory problem that could lead to blood clots, stroke, or heart attack. But the mental decline is the real nightmare scenario. A president with physical problems can still function. FDR was in a wheelchair. But a president with cognitive decline is a different beast entirely. If the leader can't think clearly, if he's confused, if he's rambling and not making sense, the entire government becomes dysfunctional. He makes the biggest decisions. If his judgment is impaired, everything falls apart. We're seeing signs now. His speeches are increasingly incoherent. He jumps from topic to topic without connection. He repeats himself constantly. He says things that don't track. Now, Trump has always had a rambling style, but insiders like Cobb are saying it's gotten significantly worse. There's been a measurable decline in recent months. The dozing off during meetings is terrifying. If the president is asleep during national security briefings, he's not getting critical information. His advisors can't brief him effectively. He's making decisions without the full picture. That's how catastrophic policy failures happen. Sleep deprivation is almost certainly driving much of this cognitive decline. Study after study shows chronic sleep loss impairs judgment, decision-making, and clear thinking. It increases the risk of serious errors. Trump is getting minimal sleep, which is directly degrading his cognitive function over time. His judgment is compromised. His decisions are compromised. And when you're making choices about war and peace with impaired judgment, that's a recipe for disaster. The worst part? He's doing this to himself. He chooses not to sleep. He chooses not to exercise. He chooses to ignore doctors. He chooses to eat garbage. He has total control over his schedule. He could go to bed early. He could work out. He could eat well. He chooses not to. The political implications are enormous. This is affecting Trump's ability to govern and threatening the stability of the entire government. If he becomes incapacitated, if he has a stroke or heart attack, we have a constitutional crisis. VP J.D. Vance steps in. Power transitions in the middle of a term. Chaos and uncertainty follow. The 25th Amendment is already part of the conversation. It allows the vice president and cabinet to remove the president if he's unable to discharge his duties. It's a high bar, requiring VP agreement, cabinet majority, and 2/3 of both houses of Congress. It's not easy, but it exists precisely for situations where a president might be physically or mentally incapable of doing the job. Is it likely now? Probably not. Republicans control Congress and the cabinet. They won't move unless Trump is literally incapacitated. But if his health keeps declining, if he has a serious event, if cognitive decline becomes undeniable, then it becomes a conversation people have to have. Polls show 60% of Americans now think Trump is too old to be president. That's a majority. And that number grows every time a new video goes viral, every time another insider speaks out, every time the decline becomes more visible. This is hammering Republican prospects for 2026. If voters worry the president isn't fit, that affects their willingness to support his party. It depresses Republican turnout. It gives Democrats devastating attack ads. It's a drag on every Republican candidate, and congressional Republicans know it. That's why there's quiet anxiety behind closed doors. Let's break down what this means going forward. First, Trump's health is a legitimate political issue. This isn't something Democrats invented. It's happening in real time. Videos exist. Reports exist. Trump admits to ignoring medical advice. His own people are talking. Voters have a right to know if the president can do the job. That's not unfair. That's basic civic responsibility. Some will say focusing on health is ad hominem, that we should focus on policies instead. That misses the point entirely. If the president can't stay awake during meetings, if he's cognitively impaired, if he's making decisions without full information, that directly affects policy quality. His health is relevant to job performance. Second, Trump needs to get serious about his health immediately. He needs to sleep more, exercise, change his diet, follow doctor's orders. Right now, he's on a collision course with a major health event. He's 79, not taking care of himself, and running the country. That's a disaster waiting to happen. It's not just about Trump, it's about government stability. If he has a stroke or heart attack, the country has to deal with the fallout. Markets react. Government transitions. Uncertainty spreads. Trump has a responsibility to the nation to minimize that risk. He's actively increasing it instead. Third, J.D. Vance is being quietly positioned as Trump's heir. Succession drama is brewing. As Trump's health concerns grow, people are starting to talk about Vance. If something happens, he becomes president. Republicans are thinking about what that means. Is he ready? Would he be good? They're positioning themselves for a potential Vance presidency. It's all theoretical now. Trump isn't incapacitated. But the fact people are thinking about it tells you how seriously they're taking these concerns. Fourth, the 2026 midterms are being affected right now. Republicans are worried Trump's health will damage their electoral chances. They're right to worry. When 60% of Americans think the president is too old, that's a major problem for his party. This echoes what happened with Biden in 2024. Age and health became massive issues. Videos went viral. People questioned fitness. Eventually, Biden withdrew because pressure became too intense. Trump isn't Biden. He won't withdraw. But he's facing the same questions. Fifth, constitutional questions loom. If Trump's health keeps declining, if cognitive issues become more obvious, at what point do Congress and the cabinet have a responsibility to consider the 25th Amendment? At what point does concern for national stability outweigh loyalty to Trump? Hard questions, but they may need answers. The 25th Amendment requires VP, cabinet majority, and 2/3 of both houses. That's an incredibly high bar. Republicans won't reach it unless Trump is literally incapacitated. But as decline continues, conversation shifts. People start thinking about it. Congress holds hearings. Scholars debate it. Sixth, the American people deserve full health disclosure. If Trump has serious problems, if he's experiencing cognitive decline, if he's on medications, if he has chronic conditions, we deserve to know. We need to know the person with nuclear authority is capable. We need transparency. So what happens next? Trump's health will likely continue declining. He's 79. He refuses to care for himself. Minimal sleep, no exercise, poor diet, no medical compliance. The odds of a serious health event in the next 2 years are significant based on medical statistics for his age and lifestyle. If he has a stroke or heart attack, the country faces constitutional crisis. If cognitive decline becomes more obvious, if confusion and rambling increase, we face serious questions about fitness. Those questions won't go away. They'll intensify. Republicans will have to decide. Keep supporting him no matter what? Push for more disclosure? Think seriously about the 25th Amendment? Prepare for a Vance presidency? Democrats will absolutely use this in 2026 and beyond. They'll say Republicans are supporting an unfit president. They'll point to videos, reports, insider statements. They'll make age and health a major campaign issue. They'll try to drive down Trump's approval and Republican turnout by raising serious questions about fitness and capability. This story is far from over. Trump's health will be a major political issue for the next 2 years. Every time he looks confused in public, every stumble, every physical struggle will go viral. Millions will watch. Millions will question whether he's okay, and Trump will have to deal with the political consequences of his visibly declining health. Because at the end of the day, this is about fitness for office. It's about whether the president is physically and mentally capable of doing the most important job in the world. And if the evidence keeps mounting that he's declining, that's a major problem for Trump, for Republicans, and for the entire country. We need a president who is fit and capable. Right now, the evidence suggests that's increasingly not what we have. Stay tuned. This story is going to develop and escalate. More evidence will come out. More insiders will talk. Trump's struggles will become more obvious. This is going to define his second term and dominate the news cycle as we head toward 2026.